The Oakland woman who caused her son's death by exposing him to fentanyl will spend 4 years in prison. 23-year-old Ashley Malloy was emotional in the courtroom in Augusta today as the judge sentenced her. Malloy pleaded guilty to manslaughter and drug charges in August for the November 2021 death of her son, 14-month-old Carson. An autopsy determined the toddler died of complications from exposure to fentanyl. According to prosecutors, the amount of fentanyl in Carson's system was nearly 4 times the amount it would take to kill an adult. Malloy addressed the court before the sentence, apologizing to her son for her failure to protect him.
I am directed by statute to assign special weight to the subjective victim impact. The impact on Carson's family is substantial and heartbreaking. Carson's father and grandmother are suffering as a result of the defendant's conduct. The question of victim impact, however, is complicated in this case by the fact that the defendant, in some ways, can also be characterized as a victim. She, too, has lost a child and must endure that pain.
I think we always, as you can tell from the sentencing today, we always look at other cases to sort of to guide us in the future. But again, also some cases have very different circumstances. So we have cases where we saw a sentence on a higher end, and then we have this case. So will it? I guess I'm concerned that courts will look at this in the future, but we also have, like I said, other circumstances and other cases where we saw, higher numbers or higher sentences.
Malloy had been out on bail and was taken into custody following the sentencing to start serving her time. Her defense attorney was not available for comment.